this video, we'll have a look at text objects. Text objects are a special curve object available in Blender. Let's have a look. I've set up my scene by deleting the default cube and moving into top orthographic view, 7 and 5. I'll press Shift A and choose text. Blender will add an object that conveniently says text. Now we started in top view because Blender text objects have no Z dimension by default and are created along the X and Y plane. If we tab into edit mode, we can immediately see that no sub-object components are available yet. Instead, we get a cursor, much like a writing program. Now this is important to note as it will have an effect on some of our available hotkeys while working with text. It also means we can edit text similar to a word processor. Let's backspace and replace our text with a new phrase. Now, if you're a fan of Firefly, it's obvious I made some mistakes. This is an easy fix. The right and left arrow keys control the cursor position. We can sometimes use the up and down arrow keys to hop lines as well, but we'll see that later. I can left arrow key over and add ''T to can. Now, I love to leave the sentence like this, but time has clearly proven me wrong. We can also use our arrow key along with our shift key to select multiple letters. I'll arrow over and use the shift key to select the P and R, replacing them with a K. Now it all looks right. In the right properties box, we can see that our data panel now has a letter in it. This will display our text object controls. Near the top, in the font name box, we can change the name of our object. In this case, I'll change it to Firefly. Now let's scroll down to the font section. Blender, by default, uses an internal font called B font, but we can use any font we have loaded on our system. We can click on the file icon and navigate to wherever you keep your fonts on your computer. In my case, it's C, Windows, Fonts. I also added a bookmark to make it easier to navigate to. I think I'll choose Bank Gothic Medium as my font. You can choose whatever font you like. The text will change to the newly selected font. Blender can handle Type 1 or TrueType fonts, any of them to my knowledge. The drop-down to the left of the font type will allow you to choose between any font already installed in the scene. Immediately below our font type are size and shear. Size does exactly what you might think. I'll adjust mine to 2. Shear is the equivalent of italics, allowing us to shear the text to the right or the left from a value of 1 to -1. By default, Blender text box panel has no width, so text will not word wrap like a word program does initially. It will just continue on in a straight line no matter how much you type. We can increase the width factor to create a text box and induce word wrap. I'll make my width 3. As you can see by the little dotted yellow line above the text, that's equivalent to 3 Blender units, and Blender will do its best to fit the words within that context. As I increase the width, Blender will do its best to fit the text object into as few lines as possible. I'll set mine to 20 units. We also have the same alignment tools available to us in Blender that we often have in Word programs, with left, right, and center alignments. And for anyone not familiar with word processing programs, Justify will space the words in a line evenly. Flush will attempt to space the letters in a line evenly. I'll go ahead and return to left. We can also adjust spacing directly below that by either character or word or line. And as well, we can offset our text object along the X or Y axis. Remember when I said text object editing would have an effect on our hotkeys? This is one of those times. I want to open my tool panel. However, if I hit the hotkey T, I'll just add a T to my text. So I will have to open it from my view panel. This gives us a panel where we can access case and style on the text we select. However, it should be noted that that style is available, has to be available for that type of font, and it also has to be loaded into the Blender scene. We can also underline text from here. Now, you may find that you want to add text from an outside clipboard function or file. We can access that via our Edit menu. Here, we can also cut, copy, and paste within our scene. In this case, I'll arrow to the beginning of my text and choose Paste from File. And I'll grab a text file labeled Firefly from my desktop. As you can see, it pastes it straight into our entire object. We can use our arrow keys for our cursor to determine where we want it to paste, and after we've pasted, to create any spaces or new lines that we need. We also have a number of options under our text menu. Here, I'll select special characters, and I'll add a copyright sign. I wouldn't want to get sued for this line. Now, we can also affect geometry for our text object under our geometry heading. Here, I'll extrude my text to 0.2. I'll move to a front view by using my View tab. Remember, if I were to hotkey my view, it would simply add that number to my text, and I don't want that. I'll rotate a bit and zoom in so that we can see the extrusion. I also have the option to bevel this extrusion. I'll add in a bevel of 0.03. Alright, I'll return to top view by using my View tab, and then I'll select the text that I pasted in using my arrow keys and my Shift key. I'll then delete it by hitting backspace, just like I would selected text in a Word program. I'm also going to set my text box dimensions back to 0. Excellent. In our next video, we'll look at adding additional curves and some modifiers to our text object. I'll see you there.